Hello, welcome to Get Your Mind On. I'm Lori Stohs. When you think about the word well-rounded, what comes to mind? You know, we think about when we're young and growing up in our school and our different environments, we're taught to be well-rounded. And so we go through our life and we go through our careers thinking, I want to be well-rounded. When you're in an interview, what do you say? I'm well-rounded. Well, what does that really mean? Have we really stepped back and said, what does well-rounded offer? Are you really well-rounded in knowledge? Are you well-rounded in experiences? Are you well-rounded in talent? You might not have thought about well-rounded in that way before. So when we think about well-rounded, and if you look it up, I just randomly looked it up to say, what does well-rounded stand for? What do people talk about when you go look at well-rounded? It seemed most of the areas I was looking at, they would mention about, seeking new knowledge, take new classes, read more, listen to more podcasts. So when you looked at that, it was really looking at well-roundedness in terms of knowledge and learning. Because it gives you a level of understanding about many different things. And I love that for people who are able to have conversations and meet people and be able to know a little bit about a lot of things so they could maybe be a good conversationalist or be good at sharing some information or applying some information. The other area I found a lot was about culture, understanding different cultures and understanding different people about being well-rounded, especially when you're in a city when there's lots of different cultures. And it allows us to really understand a little bit beyond ourselves. And both of those things are really good for us to think about. But let's think about what well-roundedness means when you think about yourself and who you are. Go back to the classes that you took. Let's think about high school. And it seemed to many of you were really good at everything. And some of you would go, gosh, I was really good at the English and the grammar and those kinds of things, the creative and the arts, but I was really not good at math and science. Or I was really good at math and science and not good at this, right? So you struggled. And, everybody was focusing on you getting that 4.0 or today even higher in those grades because we have to be good at everything. Well, you might have been one that, ended up plowing through in your own way to get a good grade, but you really struggled at it. So now let's fast forward that to the workplace to say, when you think about yourself, let's think about what well-rounded is. Well, let's look back to total focus. Remember the last couple of weeks we've been talking about the total focus, and that circle in the middle, that's the core talent. And then we had skills, knowledge, experience, and then our values. So let's look at skills. Obviously, skills were things that we could be taught, right? So we could learn lots of different skills, right? You can learn lots of different things in skills. So that's something that you could be well-rounded in. I could learn different skills. You can learn different sports. But even when you think about a sport, and if you learned how to play basketball, you might have been really good at being passing or dribbling or shooting, but maybe you weren't good at all of them, right? So even if you had a certain skill, you could be well-rounded in learning different things, but maybe you weren't good at everything. Knowledge. Some of us are natural learners. Some of us love to read. Some of us are just sponges of information. And so knowledge can be diverse. Then experiences. Many have tried different jobs, different environments, different workplaces, different types of roles, people-facing roles, customer-facing roles, some behind the scenes, some leaders, some not. So those all areas are full of differences when it comes to being well-rounded. But when we think about that core of you, that talent is who you are. Talent isn't necessarily well-rounded. So let's go back to those classes that you took. There's probably a reason that for some of you, you were more creative and you did the certain classes were a little bit easier for you because that's where your talent lies. Some of you maybe had more of the analytical math, science. You understood all those details and everything because that's who you were. So that really links to our talent. So when we think about talent isn't designed to be well-rounded. We are who we are. The neural pathways in our brains are created from birth, and that's who we are. We can expand and grow those through understanding different experiences, having different learning, having different skills. But the reason we're good at some things and not at others is because of our talent. So can we get a little bit better? We can. We can learn different things. We could add a little bit more, but are we really world class? So when you look at world class performance, World-class performance doesn't necessarily come from well-roundedness because it depends on your talent. So when you think about the 4 dimensions that we talked about with StrengthsFinder, which we've talked about a number of times, the first area is executing. The second area is influencing. The third area is relationship building. And the fourth area is thinking. So when you look at your talents, if you've taken your strengths and you look at that, some of us have a little bit of everything. Guess what? Our talent is a little bit more well-rounded. I've always been in that position where I'm a little bit well-rounded in my talent. Guess what? That's why I'm an entrepreneur. That's why I've had my own business, because if I need to sell, I need to sell. If I need to think and strategize. If I need to build relationships, I do that. If I need to execute, I do that. So some of us have had a little bit of well-rounded talent, and sometimes it's hard for us to determine what career is the best path because we can do a lot of different things. Some of us are really good executors, and you know what? We get stuff done. And some of you raised your hand going, yeah, I don't really need to be in the room when we're talking about all that strategy stuff because I'm bored to death because they're dreamers thinking about all these things. I just be the one, tell me what I need to do and let me do it. And those of you who are that might be just good executors, and you don't need the whole well-roundedness. You might know about lots of different things. Let's say you're a project manager. You're a great executor. You might have worked in different industries. You might know project management style. That's where the well-roundedness comes in, but not in the talent. Does that make sense? Hopefully you're following me there. Same thing with thinking or relationship building. I met with a guy the other day. He had 5 relationship talents. You know, man, he needs to be focused on the people side. He needs to be doing something on the people side. Now, how can he apply that? He can apply it in lots of different environments and around lots of different content. That's where the well-roundedness comes in. So for positive charge this week, I want you to think about, what does well-roundedness mean to you? And 2, does your well-roundedness come from your knowledge, skills, experiences, or your true talent? World-class performance doesn't come from well-roundedness unless it's natural talent. So we really want to perform at high levels, but we really need to think about, what does that mean for me? Don't worry about what society wants you to be, but the best thing is to know who you are, how you apply it, and what you need to learn to be successful. Thanks for joining us today, and remember to get your mind on.